Hello Android developers, my name is Mohsen and in this video I'm going to talk about a printed magazine called Fun Code. This one-time publication is done by Kotliners for Kotliners and I had the chance to be one of them. I have some of the people behind the scene of this magazine on the call and we are going to get to know them. But before we start, I'd like to let you know that I have 3 hard copies of this magazine which I would like to give away to anyone who is interested in having one. Please leave a comment so I can get in touch with you. Without further ado, let's start. Thanks everyone for joining me. I'm super happy to have all of you guys on this video. And yeah, let's start talking about yourself first. Let's introduce yourself and your name, where you're working, what are you doing, where you're based, anything that you want to announce at the beginning. Go on, Mark, you can start.
Hey, I'm Mark Reichelt. I'm a senior Android developer at Snap Mobile, and I came up with the idea for this magazine. Next up, Mohsen.
I'm the host of this event. My name is Mohsen, and yeah, thanks for joining me. I will hand over to Ziggy.
Hi, I'm Ziggy. I make e-bikes with Bosch now. I've worked in some other places. All Android developer, Kotlin fan. I like Gradle and build systems. And yeah, hello, Marius.
Hey, I'm Mariusz. I'm working currently at SumUp doing POS solutions, and I think I'm the only backender in this group, and I'm happy to pass to Chet.
Hey, I'm Chet. I'm in Chicago. I'm a student. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I must be in the wrong Zoom call. I was working on the Android team until March, and now I'm not. Pass to Enrique.
Hey folks, I'm Enrique. I have been for some time in the GD and GDG communities. I organize the DroidCon Vietnam, the Kotlin meetup in Munich. I run the Kotlin Weekly, so some Kotlin and Android on my background. And next is going to be Nicole.
Hello, my name is Nicole. I'm an Android tech lead at HoopsPut. I like to talk about cheap in random Android conferences, so you may see me around doing that. And yeah, I'm based in Berlin, and I'll pass the mic to Mario.
Another one from Berlin. Hi, I'm Mario. I'm in developer relations, and I like to inspire people about our technical community. May it be building random hardware things, telco APIs, or just general different languages. So I'm happy to be here and talk more about things I like to build. Matthias, who are you and what are you doing?
Of course, I never saw Nicole or Mario, even though I'm so in Berlin, based here, and so on. I'm working currently for Tamondo. We are doing heat pumps with craftsmen and craftswomen and craftspeople. So, and I run apparently 4 meetups in Berlin. I'm not sure how that happened, but I do extreme programming. I do Android Kotlin, and somehow I'm also the Rust guy.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I'd like to talk about the magazine idea, and maybe the very first question is why hard-coded magazine? Yes. So since Mark, you were the pioneer and the owner of the idea, and you started this thing, maybe you can start talking about it.
Yeah, sure. So the magazine was basically just a very fun idea. So I just had the idea for creating a cover page for the 1st of April, because if you go to a kiosk, like there are these tabloids, focusing on gossip. And I thought, how funny would it be to just do something for 1st of April for the Kotlin community, and just showing like, oh, here's the best JavaScript jokes by Hardy, and this is what the ex-Kotlin lead language designer is doing. And then from that idea, I think it basically grew into a bigger idea of what if we would actually have like a real magazine and then launch that for KotlinConf, because as it happens, the KotlinConf is just 1.5 months after the 1st of April. And then the final idea was to actually print it also for KotlinConf. And yeah, we managed to do all of it, like the 1st of April, and then actually doing the magazine, which you can download as a PDF today. And we also managed to print a couple of a couple of these, like only a bunch of these, just for very, very few people. Yeah, that's the idea.
Actually, I will point out, I don't think I mentioned this to Mark, like I love the idea of doing a magazine like at this date and time, some, I don't know, 20 years past the point where anybody picks up magazines anymore, because it, at the risk of dating myself, it takes me back to my youth where magazines were where you encountered this kind of technology. Like there was, I don't know, Computer Magazine and like a bunch of stuff in the late 70s and early 80s. And you would get the magazine and they would have some code and you would type it into your, Apple II or whatever the PC equivalent was at the time. And so the idea of returning to that retro world that I think most developers don't even know, given how many people started here in the last, 20 years instead. So it's kind of a beautiful joke on what programming information used to be.
Yeah, I think the nice thing is about like nobody would expect that you would build a magazine today, right? So surprise.
Yeah, sounds good. I just wanted to say, like, a great idea also from my point of view. Like, at some point, Nicole was texting me randomly, like, hey, are you joining this random thing we are doing over there? And I said, like, hey, what? Sure, what's this about? And then I got the idea from Mark, and I was just super inspired because, like, also, like you said, Chad, before, this is just like bringing me back way past, right? So, like, I started coding like this, and I felt like, yes, let's just see where this goes. Let's put some articles in, some of them useful, some not so much, and just bring it out exactly into like a printed form and send it over to people. I love the idea. Next time we should put CDs in there just because. I think, Nicole, you have your hands up.
Just wanted to add that I just bring you in so we could get some sexy androids, and that's it.
Cool. Yeah, just for everyone to know, we also started a Slack channel, which everyone was communicating and discussing how things should be. And at the very beginning, there was some uncertainty about, is it going to happen? Is it going to be only the April Fool version, or we are going to do the full magazine or not? So that's where I like to ask people about the April Fool version, because that was a bit easy to do because it was a one-page thing and it was more fun than serious.
Yeah, like the 1st of April edition, the beauty, like the beauty of the 1st of April edition is that it didn't need actual content, right? So the cover was basically the content. So we could just come up with some crazy ideas and just put it on the cover, and that was it. And I believe Mario, like this was to me also quite a good opportunity to put some AI images in there, and you were quite there from the forefront for the magazine. You put some really, really cool ideas in there, like in the 1st of April edition.
Yeah, it was just fun for me too. Like typing random things is what I do professionally, and like now putting it into an AI and letting it generate images. I think that's a great opportunity, And I mean, we got some inspiration into like how androids look afterwards. I feel like it's just, good to know more about how androids look and work.
Go on, Mark.
Yeah, and what I really loved was actually that some idea to do something with AI then brought some actual content on the 1st of April page. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe you can also try to share the 1st of April cover in between. I remember we wanted to generate this image of Andrei Breslov, like the first lead Kotlin language designer, like sitting in a hammock on a beach with white sand, palms, a cocktail in his hand, enjoying his life after Kotlin. And we could generate some great images, Mario and Enrique. I think you were also like at the forefront of generating these images. And we could generate awesome images, but none of them looked like Andrei Breslov. And that's why I picked him up and asked him for some images in a hammock. He didn't have images in a hammock, but he had this beautiful picture of him and the lemons. So I think that turned out even better. Maybe, yeah, chat.
I also love the idea that you incorporated AI, because I think that starts the possibility that the magazine could actually just be acquired for billions of dollars. Because I think that's all you need now for any business plan. So well done. Well done.
Cool.
That should definitely help with the next round of financing.
Yeah,
Am
for
I
the next
hearing
essay-
DroidCon edition here? You know, like I'm just bringing it in, DroidCon edition, right? Anyway.
Yeah, but for the DroidCon edition, we were thinking of replacing all the authors and writers with AI as well. So it's going to be a fully funded AI magazine.
I'm not so sure if I like this idea.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what's DroidCon edition? I don't know. No, I don't know anything about that.
There are rumors, but let's see.
Well, now
Okay.
there will be rumors.
We started it, don't worry. Okay, why the magazine name is Fun Code parentheses? Anyone has something? Go on.
And maybe I can start with that. Like for the 1st of April, I really had this idea. Just put Kotlin in the name and then like Kotlin Today magazine, and it was a play also on these words, like with like something today, like these tabloid magazines, right? But then we couldn't use it because turns out Kotlin has a trademark, and I tried reaching out to the Kotlin Foundation and they didn't reply at first, and I tried reaching out again, and then we got the final answer to basically not use Kotlin in the name, which in hindsight is perfectly valid, but then we had to find a different name. And I think we had different names, like as suggestions. I still remember that when Mario joined the team, I think we shortly thought about naming the magazine The Magazine, like Z-E, The Magazine. And Chet, you also had a good suggestion.
Yeah, Fun Times, I think, was what I batted around a few of them, but I think Fun Times sort of won the poll. And then it turns out that was beaten down for lawyer reasons from a completely different company. I should point out that I think lawyers are basically toddlers. If you ever ask them a question, the answer will be no. So I wasn't surprised that they wouldn't spring Kotlin as a name that you could use. So yeah. Oh well, but I like the eventual result, and maybe we'll hear from some other lawyers somewhere that we didn't think to ask.
Yeah, I have one at home, so I know what you mean. By default, they say no. A toddler, not a lawyer. Okay, go on. Go on,
Well,
Mark.
maybe you got a toddler and a lawyer. Think about that.
No.
Well, and then in the end, the final name was actually suggested by Louis CAD. You definitely know him. He's one of the heroes from the Kotlin community, and he basically suggested that name, and I loved it. And it was really a really close catch between Fun Times and Fun Code, and then we set it up for Fun Code, and that was really good because turns out Fun Code doesn't have a trademark, like Fun Code with the braces.
I like to go through the cover. At the very top right, it says limited one-time edition. First of all, why? And is it just another joke that we want to have another one or no? Nicole,
I can jump in on this one. Like, you have no idea how much work was into making one version of this. I can't imagine I was like working for this like on a regular basis. So we compromise on one. The next one we'll see, basically. Go, Mark.
And also limited editions sell better, right? which is fun because we didn't sell a single copy. We just gave them away for free.
Yeah, that was my next question. Who was the sponsor, and how much is the price of this magazine? Did anyone pay anything? Mark, go on.
Yeah, you're basically looking at them here. So I basically just paid for the printing then just before KotlinConf, but it wasn't much actually. It was like, I think it was €3 per edition. So we printed 100 of these, and so I just donated, and then some other people here in the round also donated back to me. So basically that's how we did it. So we did self-financing. We had sponsors actually for printing, so that was pretty cool, but we couldn't use them in the end because turns out that we wanted to print the edition for the full KotlinConf for all the attendees, but turns out that would have been like a conflict between those sponsors and the sponsors in the magazine. And then we said, well, we're not going to print it. We're just going to print some for a few friends and some people that we think should get a copy.
Yeah, great. And if everyone is okay, I'm going to flip through the pages. At the very beginning, we have this very nice monkey user comics. That was kind of my idea because I love these guys and those who are doing these comics. And I said, okay, let's approach them. And they were really approachable. As soon as I got in touch with them, they said, that's okay. Just mention the name and it's okay. We also put their Patreon address here. I also have, they call this doll feature, but it's a bug. Okay, but let's call it feature. And I bought it from the store, so you can go and buy if you're interested. But let's go further. And the next page. Who wants to talk about the next page?
Yeah, maybe I can talk about the next page. The next page is the intro, right? So first and foremost,
yes.
Mosen, I think it was your idea about the monkey user comics to put the monkey user comics in. And I think that was something we actually got this like in the very first days, and then you get the permission from the author. And I think that is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
And then yeah, on the third page, it's basically just the image with the polar lights. As I saw them here in my hometown near Frankfurt, Germany. And I think it's a nice touch because it actually has the Kotlin logo colors on it. And yeah, it's just an intro that I thought maybe we should just explain to people how this magazine came to be. So it also has the idea and the April Fool's edition, and then basically a thank you to all of you, basically, and all the others who couldn't join the call today. And all the others in the Slack channel. So I believe we had like up to 50 people in the Slack that we used or not used to communicate. And I think we had like 12 or 13 really, really active contributors, most of which you see also here in this call.
Yeah. On page 4, we have Jesse article, identifiers aren't services. We don't have anyone on the call, but if anyone has something to add, feel free to add.
I'll comment that when I finally got around to joining the Slack group, which took me a lot of effort and a lot of time, then I saw people like Jesse Wilson on, and I thought, oh, how great it would be to have someone producing really good technical content next to my article that's not. So like I recognized a bunch of the name and thought, oh, this is going to be like really good stuff because these are people that actually have something intelligent to say. And so it was kind of charming to be able to do the opposite.
Okay, the second one is from you, Mark, the way of code sharing. Second article, I mean. Do you have something to add?
Yeah, so the way of code sharing, it's a article about code sharing and how we did it in the beginning and the mistakes that we made, and how actually developers they don't want to write code multiple times for different platforms. So in a way, we always tend to just write a code base a single time because we try to reduce complexity. But the rise of different platforms actually needed us to go into different directions. And then the iOS platform has its own programming language and its own way of coding. And there's the Android platform, there's the desktop platforms, there's the web platform. And by default, we wanted to just code share. And I think now it's getting more closer together again because we wanted to, because the only thing that we cannot do is not code sharing, I think. So I think the teams that will code share will be more successful in the long run.
True. Thank you. And next page is a page that I love because it makes the magazine tangible. Mark, you did that great job. Maybe you want to add something.
Yeah, this was one of the first ideas I had actually for the magazine. So I didn't even have the idea for the article here. So this is a Kotlin 3D logo that you can just print out and cut, and you can glue it together, and then you get something like this. So I'm trying to hold up here in my camera. So you get a Kotlin 3D logo that you can just put on your desk, on your real desk, on your PC. And notice that the 3D logo has my article on the back page. So if you cut it, then basically you're only going to cut my article because I didn't want any other article to be cut, so I put mine. And some other person actually told me, well, now your article will be inside of the Kotlin 3D logo forever. And I said, yeah, that's a different way to think about it. Yeah, Mario wants to say something.
Go on, Mario.
Yeah, for me, once I heard about this one, this gave me the tone for the article and for the whole magazine, right? It's not gonna be like a nature kind of magazine style. It's gonna be fun, tangible, but also giving us some knowledge in. So I felt like, yes, I want to be on board when we are doing something like this. Let's figure out how we're doing it. So yeah, great idea, Mark.
Thanks, everyone. And yeah, the next page is chat. Go on, chat. Stage is yours. Great job.
Sorry, my mute button moved around. Yes, so Mark reached out to me early on, and it must have been after the April thing, or maybe when you had the original April idea and you were reaching out to people saying, do you want to do this article? And I thought, well, that's silly because I stopped coding and I certainly don't have time to pick it up again because I'm a little busy writing this comedy and screenplay stuff for school. But I thought, yeah, it's always fun to, come up with some premise and write some comedy article. It's always a challenge to do that for like the presentations that I've done or some of the satire articles. And I thought, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to keep my toe in this world anyway. So I will do that for you. And I put something on my calendar and then I immediately forgot about it because it turns out that grad school is a lot of homework. And then several weeks passed and I saw this event looming a week in the future when this thing was due. And I thought, well, this is probably a pretty serious deadline because it's not like they're going to shift the KotlinConf for a magazine. So I, came up with some premise around the for loop, which when I was first learning Kotlin, like the syntax is pretty straightforward, but every language has its own idiosyncrasies. And I just kept banging my head against this one. And I kept having to look it up to see what the damn syntax was again and again and again. And it always annoyed me that they took a particular pattern that has been used throughout every high level language that we all learned and have used for the last 30 years. And they just kind of arbitrarily changed it to make it, more dynamic and flexible. On the other hand, it's different. It's different than everybody does it. And it was just like one of those pesky things that I always thought was very funny and odd about Kotlin. So I thought, well, that's my premise. And so I put together this article and then I did a sonnet because that's kind of where my head was at from some of the stuff I was doing in school. It's on the next page there. And I sent it off to Mark thinking I was going to be the last one in the door before the door closed. And then Mark can speak to what the reality was.
Yeah, it's good to put that in a context on a timeline because I reached out to Chad. I think that was actually before 1st of April, and I asked him for the article. And then I also sent him a Slack invite directly also in the first email conversation that we had. And then we got the notice from the Kotlin Foundation that we couldn't use Kotlin in the name. And also we tried reaching out to the KotlinConf team, but turns out the KotlinConf team had a different kind of thing, like a small conference to organize. So they had a different thing, and they also wanted to have a green conference, so we couldn't print for all the people. So we got some rejections basically. So we already got some content, and I wrote that email to Chad asking him for the article. But then, so basically the whole thing was a little bit, like the motivation was a little bit dropping at that point. And just when I thought, well, Chad is not on the Slack channel, maybe I should just also ping him and tell him that we got the rejections. But I thought maybe he just forgot about us. And then directly then the email from him came with the article inside, and I thought, oh no, we really got to launch this thing. And maybe Chad, you also have something to say, but I really would like to ask the team, like, how did you feel across, like, it was like a roller coaster. We had this 1st of April, we had the content, then the rejections, and then at the end, it grew bigger. Yeah, Chad.
Yeah, for a little more context, like the Slack channel is an important part of this disconnect because you created the channel and assumed everyone would join it, and everybody did, and there was a conversation, everybody was on the same page except me. I really hate that platform because every time I go to log in, there's a different channel, different workspace, whatever it is, and I can't figure out the login, and I need a special link, and authentication is like way harder in that than it needs to be. If you are like me and you don't use it for like one primary thing at work, but you just have these sort of odd spaces that people add you to. And so I didn't bother because I hate it. And so I wasn't there. I didn't realize that the project had essentially died on the vine because you had, gotten that rejection from lawyers or whatever. And so I was thinking I was late to the party. And in fact, I was the only one at the party in those early days. Back to you.
It's like company price just dropped 10%. Go on, Mario.
Yeah, so Mark, you were asking also about our roller coaster, right? So like in the start, I was super engaged, happy to create whatever images we need and figure out how to make a seemingly naked Android appear when generating images. But then at some point I was just saying, okay, I'm like not having the energy anymore because also like work stuff picked up. But then in the end, I was super happy that we made it happen. Like once I've been done with my article and make it work, I just said like, okay, I'm handing it over for you, trusting that something will happen or not.
Mario, I know you generated this Android nice image here. What prompt you used? Because I'm sure it got banned multiple times.
I can look it up. I can give you the details in a second, but obviously it was not using any obvious names, right? I think it was an Android robot in a sunny beach, and it's very warm, implying that if it's warm, you need to have less clothes on, without saying naked or anything similar. I hope I didn't generate now more requests on images on ChatGPT, but it's a tool to be used. It's your own responsibility what kind of images you want to generate with it.
Cool. We can go down to these iOS developers on Kotlin multi-platform. It's a nice kind of survey asking iOS developers. Who wants to talk about it? Mark, do you want to? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, that one was also my idea from the beginning, to just get some quotes from iOS developers, because we tend to have these things, these queries for developers, and we tend to be in our Kotlin community. And I think there's some real value in asking developers, iOS developers in particular, about Kotlin multi-platform, because it's really important to get out of our bubble and get real feedback from real developers, and it's really kind of important, like in many different topics, to shift the perspective and put yourselves in the shoes of a different developer, to see the problems and the chances also from a different perspective. Yeah, and I like that okay, chat.
I just wanted to say, I also thought it was really exciting to hear from these other developers in this other community, because I didn't even know that people still wrote iOS code. So it was kind of fun to see a different perspective that I thought had gone away years ago.
Maybe someone else also wants to say something about the iOS developers section.
Any jokes? Anything?
No, we don't do jokes about iOS developers.
Go on.
I can add something. Basically, I really appreciate this part, and I feel that theme that was through KotlinConf was that they're trying to include iOS folks more on this whole multi-platform idea. So it's really nice to ask them, because I feel like there's a lot of multi-platform ideas reigning everywhere, and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to be doing this for everything. It's like, have you asked the other peeps? Like, we're on board because we already know Kotlin, but So yeah, it's a really nice section, and I think understanding other people is how we move forward. So that's great.
Yeah. And in general, they also have a nice language to code with, so it's really hard to ask them to step down from Swift or whatever they're using, and then use Kotlin, or let us do the code and they just use it somehow. Okay, and on the next page, yeah, cool. That's mine. I was a bit lazy to write everything from scratch, so I said, okay, let's start writing a prompt for AI to generate something fun for Kotlin. But then it got really serious, because I did multiple time, collected some stuff. Some was outdated, some was really irrelevant and not really fun. So I stitched them together, and yeah, that's what you see. Even some parts I had to write from scratch. I think if I would write it from scratch, it was easier than stitching all those AI prompts. But yeah, that's a fun page, and I think one of the ships are hidden here. Just as a comment. Go on, Mark.
Yeah, I didn't find the sheep, the sheep that's hidden here on the page, by the way. So I think this is one of those which I didn't find yet. So I really have to. Yeah. So maybe you can also shift to Nicole, actually asking her like the. So I think it was my idea with the sheep to put in the magazine, because I thought, well, we have Nicole on board. Why wouldn't we just do that? But I think she just executed this perfectly. Nicole, what was your what did you feel about like when I asked you to put some sheep into the magazine?
Thank you. As a really big Where's Wally fan, I was super on board. Like, whenever you brought this idea, I like just, grab my basic sheep and try to put it around. But then I noticed that it was really easy to spot. So I just actually created an app so I could create different sheep on different colors and in order to like fill this magazine. And I actually have it in my phone. So now I can just on demand change the color of my sheep and create sheep PNGs to share everywhere. So it was really fun.
I really love how you said like oh, I just created an app for that, and that's just such a developer's thing to say.
I mean, it's a canvas sheep, it was easy.
I also like Mosen. I also like that in the picture on the upper head there's one little goblin or so with a Kotlin logo, and then there's one beside of him with goblin, like a G-O, goblin. Yeah, exactly. It's a nice touch that the AI generated in there.
Yeah, great. Nicole, do you want to talk about the story behind ships? Maybe someone doesn't know you.
Sure. I mean, there's not a lot of story on this. Basically, a couple of years ago, during one of the Troika Berlin conferences, I was playing with the idea with Compose because Compose just arrived, yada yada yada, and I really like to play with Canvas and things like that. So it was like, hey, I should just create something fun with Canvas. An idea that was playing around my head at the time was like, this title of a book, like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So I was like, Do Androids Dream of Composable Sheep? And that's where the idea came from. So I basically just started like literally drafting in my notebook, like, hey, how do I create a sheep with Compose and with Canvas? And then I just created sheep. And now when that idea came to fruition, like I created like 3 different talks for 3 different Droidcons. Not recommended. It's really a lot of work. And then I just started creating sheep everywhere. And when I tried to move away from them, like, do something else, let's do mushrooms this time. Everyone already knew me as a sheep lady. So they were like, where are the sheep? So I had to create a library to make my life easier. So I don't have to like copy paste sheep everywhere. So now there's a library. So if you want to play with the composable sheep yourself, you can just add it in your dependencies and you have sheep. So that's it. Probably I'm the only one using that library. So there it is. You can play around with sheep now.
Great. Mark, I want you to comment how you put these 2 pages so nice together. This is from Mario.
Yeah, and this was from Mario, and I did have no idea how to put into the magazine, but Mario had this. So first of all, maybe let's talk about what it is. Mario, do you like to mention what it is first?
So yeah, this is the ideas from, oh my God, the 80s, right? You learn programming by buying a magazine, typing it, and then being very frustrated about like that you missed a line somewhere, or a 0 was a 1, or a semicolon missing at the end. And the compiler was just saying, no, try again. So I wanted to recreate those fun situations because I think this is also a way for me how I learned it, right? But the hard way of just saying like, hey, I have this thing now, I type it in, I'm changing a thing, then seeing how this changes the outcome. And throughout this circle, I was just able to learn and thought like, hey, maybe this is the time to revive it in a magazine. So I sat down and looked a bit around. I'm following like a maker on YouTube called Carly. She's sitting in UK and she's going retroactively through all everything she has at home, different consoles. The Amiga is there, the C64 is there. And she was mentioning the Osborne archives at some point. And Osborne is a magazine creator in the UK that was famous for creating those type-alongs, I want to call them. And they have a beautiful archive under this link where you can just like download the whole archive magazine from back then and type in BASIC. Sadly, I don't do BASIC as much anymore, so I thought like, hey, can we take the code and put it into Kotlin? Obviously, we needed to add some more lines to it. I think we are now at 300-ish. The original type along was around 100 lines, and that was already a lot for the time. But yeah, I translated it, had some great fun. They're also adding some visualizations to it. So like the ASCII art that is generated afterwards is amazing. And yeah, sorry, I had so much fun just thinking about this one, translating it, and hopefully inspiring people to just type it along and get like more into the details and to do the hands-on, like how do I actually write code?
Yeah, and then if you do it, then you will get a game that you can play on your terminal, and you can land a spaceship, and you have to figure out which numbers to put in so the spaceship doesn't crash. So I really love this game. So I played it more often than I would like to admit during the magazine, and then I thought, well, you've got a magazine to do, so I should focus on something else. And this was fun. So Mario, thank you so much for this article. And yeah, coming back to the question, like Mosen, how the design came to be. So it was a spaceship, so I thought, hey, some galaxies or something. And then I just entered galaxies as a search type in Unsplash, and I found this beautiful image. Then I put it here. And what I really love is if you hold up the magazine like this way. So if you open the magazine, then this came out to be just in the middle. And it was just a random accident because I just put it somewhere, so it's going to be folded up. But that it landed just in the middle of the magazine was super chance, was super random. And I believe it's a nice touch because you open the magazine and then the first thing is you see is colors, galaxy, and the spaceship game, which I think is amazing.
Great job, guys. Okay, now we are with Mariusz and convert HTML to PDF with Kotlin and JVM. Go on, Mariusz.
Yes, so this is my article based on my recent experience at SumUp. Basically, it's nothing that, I needed to prepare for the magazine because the idea for the article it was a coincidence. I wanted to write this article anyway and publish on my blog, but then my friend Jonathan invited me to the Slack of the magazine, and I thought, why to not put it in the magazine instead? I always wanted to be a part of magazine, and there was a chance to be printed finally, as Mark said at the beginning. So yeah, that was like I tried to describe our approach because my team is doing reports. So we face this problem of how to generate PDFs efficiently, but also to not be limited with some old CSS support versions. If you check the libraries on the internet, 99% of them is not supporting any new version of CSS than 2.1. And that was a huge limitation for us. So we discovered that Microsoft is doing the great end-to-end testing library called Playwright. And we decided, well, maybe it's designed for tests, but it also can generate PDFs. So then we did a quick proof of concept, added on top of it the object spool, and this is how it is. It is now working almost on production, will be released next week. So yeah, this is almost the production code in this magazine that you can see. Of course, we add that on top of it because it's very simple here, but yeah, I think this solution is the best approach to PDF in Kotlin right now.
Great job. Yeah, PDF is always something. Mark, we have this nice puzzle here. Do you want to talk about it? It's Cody trying to get to KotlinConf and maybe later to DroidCon. I don't know.
Yeah, so this was basically just a placeholder, right? But I thought, well, if we have a magazine and it's something tangible and you can take a pen and just draw on it, and turns out some kids Some people actually brought the magazine to their kids, and the kids really enjoyed doing the labyrinth. Turns out that you don't have to be a kid to do it, so you can just do it also as a usual senior developer. But yeah, the idea was just, just thought about like, what do magazines have that online blog posts usually don't have? Like a labyrinth is a pretty good idea. And yeah, it was really cool. So at KotlinConf there was this fire alarm, and all the people had to leave the conference. And somebody, I don't know who, I have the suspicion who it is, but I don't know who's behind it. But someone actually created a Twitter account for Cody, and then she just wrote one single tweet, and it says like, it wasn't me. So Cody, the Kotlin mascot. And yeah, I believe that's a fun touch. And Cody also gave a shout out to the magazine that he's now on the front page of the cover, which I think is also pretty cool. So we have Cody here, and glad that Cody could make it to KotlinConf because he was actually there on the front stage. Yeah, Mario, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight like also what I really enjoy about this magazine, right? Like on the one hand, we have this technical content, HTML to PDF, that helps us continue like whatever we need to do in our daily job. And on the other hand, we have this wonderful maze over there where I can just like spend my time on it and just like doodle around on it. Then we have some random sheep somewhere with some prices attached, but then we also have like some more deeper content coming up next. So I really, really enjoy the combination of all of it.
I kind of want the maze though to have an infinite loop in the middle that you'll only discover when you try to do it, just for sheer programmer humor. But maybe next time.
If you look really closely. If you look really closely, it has a null pointer exception, but it's not reachable.
Nico, you were saying something.
No, that's it. Like maybe for the next iteration we can add that. And I just wanted to add sexy droids. Yes, that's like sale point for all of this. Like, kid games one side, sexy droids in the other, fun games and serious content. What else do you need for a magazine,
Great, thanks guys. And let's move forward. Ziggy, the creative Gradle, it has a question mark. I have to read it. The creative Gradle, Ampere, what's going on? So Ziggy, go on.
Yeah, so right now it's really interesting what's going on. So Jack Brains announced this new build system that kind of looks like, cargo, like something from Rust. It's really interesting. It could change everything, how we work. But at the same time, Gradle have announced this declarative Gradle sort of thing where they kind of rethink really at a high level, like how you do Gradle builds. I think it's hugely interesting. I had a bunch of notes about it, but they were pretty dry. But then when Mark asked me like, "Oh, do you have something for this magazine?" I go, "Okay, I'll write a pretty kind of silly, tongue-in-cheek thing where I sort of just put my notes about it." Yeah, so it's a bit jokey, but the content. So after Mark actually told me, like after this was all before KotlinConf, so I figured, well, this is all going to be spoiled, when we print this out, and then we got a KotlinConf, and there was also talk about Ampere, and there was also talk about declarative Gradle. But Mark told me that, like, oh yeah, you should come here to the talk to the Gradle guys. They actually read this, and they kind of think it's kind of spot on. So it's still valid. It's still spot on. Read it. People think I love Gradle. I don't actually love Gradle, and I don't love build systems, but they're just so important that you have to know this stuff really well, especially if you're kind of senior. Yeah. So that was kind of it. Does that make sense, Mark?
Yeah. And what I think is really funny with the magazine, so you print the magazine like the day before a conference, and then like 12 hours later, it's going to become outdated. Nice. But in this case, it was actually still on point. So I love that your article is still valid after KotlinConf as it was before. So I think that's a nice touch.
That's good.
Yeah, great. I also watched that Ampere thing, and the fact is that ID should help you because you're writing some stuff, and if there's no, I don't know, IntelliSense, then you just have to go and copy paste from somewhere. Because you're 100% new to it, and at least Gradle, you know what you were doing before. But great. Let's move forward. The next is this very nice page which is like a circus. Martin is not with us, but yeah, anyone wants to add something about it? It's like a quiz page. Nicole, go on.
I can say that it's really fun. We had this idea of making those quizzes from the old magazines, like, you know, like teenager magazines always had this quiz like, hey, which kind of like, I don't know, cake are you or whatever. So this was great. Also, the background was amazing because it was so easy to hide sheep in this one.
I found in this one, just in case.
There are two.
Oh, really? Thanks for the hint.
Yeah. So Nicole, how many sheep are there actually, like in the full magazine?
Yeah, there are 10 hidden around it, and there are actually 2 bonus sheep. That's it.
So
Oh my
10
God,
sheep
you mean
plus 2
12?
bonus sheep. even we didn't find all of them,
Even-
right, Mosen?
I think I found 6, and now that I heard there are 12, I'm more, eager to find at least 10 of them.
Yeah, Mario tries to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I love the question number 7 and the answer D, because before I knew Kotlin as a language, as a programming language, this is a famous brand of Polish ketchup. It exists for like over 10 years. I think it's older than the language. So for every time in Poland when you talk about Kotlin, there is a ketchup joke.
Yeah, I can read it. To you, Kotlin is the name of A, an island, B, a programming language, C, an animal, D, a Polish condiment. Cool. Let's move on. Mark, do you want to say something?
No, I just want to say that also this questionnaire highlighted the fact that you can flip the magazine and then you can see the answers of the questionnaire. So that's something that we are also more expected from magazines and not really from the digital versions.
Yeah, great. Yeah, usually magazine also can print on the next version, but we don't have next version yet. Okay, next one is from Matthias. Matthias is with us. Embrace the crisis. Which crisis, Matthias?
Yeah, there's so many crises in life. My entire life is actually a crisis, convoluted in one person, I guess. But actually, I had 3 topics which I wanted to speak or bring into the magazine. Apparently, only one could make it. And fun thing was I was super late to make the article ready. It was, I guess, 2 days or 3 days before the conference actually happened. So chat, yeah, I was super late. And not you, I was. You can blame all on me. And I was thinking that, of course, many people will come up with a lot of good coding articles. But from my experience, 80% of the time, we not deal really with coding problems at work. We're dealing more with people problems or problems in the organization. And I like to focus more about that, and I try to have a little bit not a normal format. That's why I try to make it more like a diary entry. So yeah, and then I speak a lot about crisis and how to understand them and what you can learn from them and what you take out personally or as a team out of that. So that's basically the article. And yeah, fun thing also was I should have bring 2 pages. Apparently it's 1.5 or even less, because somebody did not tell me that we don't have the font size 11. Huh. So it got a little bit shorter, but that left room for another page with amazing stuff on it, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, one note for any people that want to try a magazine, then usually you want to have actually multiple of 4 pages because they're going to be printed out on a big page, and that's going to be like 2 pages there and 2 pages on the back side. So it's always going to be a multiple of 4. And then we had like 16 pages, and then there was a little bit more content, and then I said like, oh, we're now at 17, so now we have to grow up to 20, and then we had more room to fill. But actually, so I think, Matthias, the timing worked quite well because, in the end, we're just going to put something there and we filled some of the last content in the very last minute, but I think it's a really, really nice touch. Like also the photos here from Martin and Lewis, because they actually cycled from, Hamburg, Germany, 350 kilometers to KotlinConf, so Copenhagen in Denmark. And what was really cool was some people actually asked us, like, when did you make this? Because this must have been like really, really close to the printing deadline. And yes, it was. So some of the final pictures actually Lewis entered like at the evening before the printing. So it was the evening. Then on the next day, I actually jumped on the plane in the morning, and then like at 8 a.m. in the morning, I landed in Copenhagen. Then I drove to the copy shop and then got the final touch ready, and that was it. So it's beautiful that we have this in there, and also like the tiny sheet also there also traveled from Hamburg to Copenhagen. So that was really cool.
Yeah, great dedication, Mark. You did a great job. We all agree.
Well, I have to say Martin and Lewis did a great job on this one.
Yeah, this one for sure. Okay, we have a crossword here. Long time didn't solve one of these, but yeah, do you want to add something? I think, Mark, it was your job too.
Yeah, this was also like very last minute. Like we needed to fill one more page, and turns out the crossword is a really nice way to, fill a page. And also the second, it's really fun to do, like in a magazine again. So I love it that we had the chance to actually add another thing like the crossword puzzle. Mario.
I just want to, like, for everybody listening to this one, this is also an interesting problem to solve. Like, how would you write an algorithm that builds a crossword puzzle? I just think about it, it's getting down several rabbit holes. I'm here to support you. And also, if you have something smart and amazing there, let's talk about it, because maybe in the next magazine. Anyway, so just think about algorithms. It's always lovely.
Great, and we can jump to the last page. It's magazine scope.cancel. Nice touch of Kotlin here. Great, everyone. One thing that came to my mind is that all these great people here with me, there are people who are sitting behind their desk or behind their closed door and doing great coding and nice job, but not sharing anything with the community. But all these nice people who are on this call are those who are open to the community, sharing stuff, caring about others, and that's very nice. That's why I always said I love the Android and Kotlin community. We are one of the best, I think. I don't know if there's any other community that can reach us, but yeah, let's hope not. But anyone has anything to add about? I also like to ask Mark, to be honest, because you didn't know all of us. You knew some of us, but then everyone here joined to this magazine, and also others who are not here. How did you approach them? How did you find them approachable?
So I just approached some people I did know, and some people actually got referred. So I think Mosen, I didn't know you before, and also Marius, I didn't know you before, but many of the others I actually did know before. So my plan was just to ping some people that I know, and ping some people that I know from conference talks online. And my hope was that you would actually take that and also invite more awesome people. And I think we have a really great mix from the Kotlin community to create this lovely magazine.
I'll just add, since you brought it up, Mosen, that I mean, of course, there would be people that contribute to something like this. One of the things I loved most about getting out into the Android community and sticking around in that job, in that community for so long, was that everybody was really open about what they were learning, what they were doing, and sharing that information. I think that community was not unique, but it's certainly one of those communities that sort of has that going for it. There are other developer communities where things are either very secretive, or they just don't think to share, or the information comes down from on high from the company. This is the way you do that thing, as opposed to there's a million ways of doing the thing, and then everybody enjoys sharing their particular approach and sort of converging on good solutions across the community. And that always is a more fun and more people-oriented dynamic that I enjoyed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that something on board that, like something that I also find super cool about community here is that it doesn't matter in which level they are, like in which position or so high in the ladder they are. If you ping someone, most of the cases they're going to answer. Like even if it's a negative or a positive or whatever, people just answer, which is great. And it's something that I have started like, you know, taking it for granted. But talking with some coworkers in other environments, ecosystems, and things like that, it doesn't always happen. So that's something really unique for the Android community that I really, really appreciate. Matthias?
Yeah.
Yes. But we have to get better again, encouraging people to share, because that's something we actually really see in the meetups. Finding people who are willing to share and to speak gets harder and harder. And I think that has one side that people might think, oh, what they're doing is not interesting to others, but it certainly is. Or I wouldn't say they are not willing, they're just not aware that they could share stuff in the end of the day. And we need to encourage people more to do that again.
Go on, Mark.
Yeah, I also want to add, like, I mean, it speaks for itself that we have like a really, really great Kotlin community, and we love it. And this magazine is basically one of the proofs that this community is simply amazing. So I'm really proud of being in the Kotlin and the Android community. But also speaking for itself, I think we have no right on saying that some other community is bad. Only that our community, we love it so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the end what matters. And also one more thing that, you know, every community is based on the people that belong to it. So we all have the power to actually keep the community awesome, and we should continue investing in the community and keeping it amazing, because that's in the end how the community will be in the future. So we can drive it forward.
Yeah, 100% true. Okay, we also have a repo, and PDF version is also there. We also have a web page which people can go and download the PDF from. And maybe Mark, you can mention that.
Yeah, again, I want to shout out that we have the PDF online, so you can download it. You can read it, of course, for free. It's 20 pages. You can just print a few pages of it if you like, maybe the 3D logo, for example, or the crossword puzzle, or the questionnaire. You can try finding all the sheep from Nicole, and you can try finding the other Easter eggs that we hid in the magazine, because there's actually more. And I really want to say thank you to everyone here, and of course not joining the call. I want to give a special shout out again to Miki Stefanowski, because he's basically been the heart of the design of the April Fool's cover and the Kotlin magazine, and also given the nice touch. And I want to give a big thank you to every one of you contributing, because without you, this would never have happened. So this was amazing to be on. And also a thank you for everyone reading this magazine online or offline. You know, if you like it, if you don't like it, please give us some feedback. Please, you know, follow us on FunCodeMag on Twitter and on Mastodon. You can also go to Kotlin Today and kotlintoday.com to download the PDF. And please give us feedback if you like it, or if you have some feedback what we should include if we would ever to do it again. And yeah, just tell us if you love it, because that's some amazing feedback for us. Chat.
Yeah, I want to amplify that. I think it's easy to imagine that nobody would want to be bothered with your voice saying, "Hey, that was nice." But the truth is, everybody here, you know, especially the people driving this thing, like Mark and the designer, like they put a lot of time into this thing. And what exactly are they getting out of it? Nothing, just appreciation from people that actually enjoy the content. So hearing back from people on, you know, Twitter or Reddit or wherever, I think is actually more meaningful than people would think. I should also point out too, like if you're curious about this thing and you want to talk to people about it. So Mark, you're going to be at DroidCon Berlin. I don't know if other people are going to be there. So come up and have a conversation.
Yeah, great hint. Talking about the hard copy, I have 3 hard copy to give away. So anyone who wants one, please approach. I will send it in my own expenses. So just leave a comment. I will try to get in touch with you and get your address and somehow send it to you. And yeah, that's that's more or less it. Anything you want to add to this conversation that I forgot to ask, or we somehow skipped, and you want to mention? Go on, Matthias.
Maybe just one small thing, since that's something which is really on my tongue since KotlinConf, honestly, that Kotlin is not a product, it's in the end the community and the environment we live in, right? So, and we should emphasize the community aspect much, much more than we actually do by all the sides, the people who are organizing and the people who are consuming. So, because it's great.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for your time, and thank you the other guys who are watching. And yeah, if you like this content, this is what I do on this channel. So like, comment, share, and follow the Fun Code Mac. And I will put all the links in the description. You can reach out and enjoy the magazine. Thanks everyone for joining me.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, and have a nice Kotlin.